Toy box. Only one... Hold on. Only one song? But it's got this little film thing next to it. So I'm very afraid of what that means. Yeah, she wasn't... Oh! This is a memory dive. Oh, this is probably... Wait, is this from... I was going to say, is this from the movie? No, it's obviously not. So yeah, this is going to take a bit of getting used to again. Because the timing on these memory dives feels a tiny bit different. As you can clearly tell, I am not very used to them. I played the Sanctuary memory dive yesterday off screen, which I accidentally played at the Proud, and that was not fun for me at all. But it seems like these are actually going to be even shorter worlds, because they only have one song. And they're going to be slightly different, because the memory dives. Which probably has some canonical bullshit attached to it, I imagine. Because Kingdom Hearts always does. That's one thing I'll give Kingdom Hearts. There's always, like, not always, but they go out of their fucking way to make sure that all of the gameplay elements generally have a canonical reason to exist. Like Flow Motion has a canonical reason to exist, and then suddenly kind of exists outside of the dream world in 3, because why not? And even the fact that Sora like gets reset to level 1 every single game almost always has an in-universe reason, and I kind of love it. I just got overwhelmed with so many things flying at me at once. I'm just not good. Again, that's what I'm not good at. It's like I get easily overwhelmed, I guess. Oh yeah, no, this has the Atlantica issue from Kingdom Hearts 2, where the background is very, very distracting. What a sudden change? Yeah, I don't really understand that either. Why the sudden change? It worked perfectly before, and like if you throw in some of these memory dives throughout the game, that's fine. But it seems like Kingdom Hearts 3 is just all memory dives, which is weird.
To prepare for the final battle with Master Xehanort, Sora set out in search of a way to regain his power of waking. In Olympus, he learned to fight for someone with all his heart.
Yeah, we skipped Olympus, didn't we?
In Twilight Town, he searched for clues about Roxas. In a fairy tale kingdom, he met one of the new 7 hearts. And in Toy Box, he learned hearts can reside where you least expect them.
Nobody's ever loved you!
Meanwhile, Lee and I were hard at work training to become Keyblade wielders. And Riku and Mickey found a clue to where Terra was.
So yeah, no, I fully agree. The memory dive should have just been like at the beginning and end of every like section of this game. Every like at the beginning and or end of Kingdom Hearts 1, there should have been a memory dive, rather than just this world randomly being one. That doesn't make a lot of sense. And the reason that is not the case is because this game did not have a designer attached to it. It was literally just make these levels, make an overworld menu, and sell the shit. Again, not worth full price. Kingdom of Corona, which hits differently in 2020, I must say. Sure, Neverland got 3 worlds, but Olympus, the most overexposed world, only got 2. Did it even get 2? I don't. It got a. Did it get the Kingdom Hearts 2 version? I think it did. Even though 3 actually adds in quite a bit of new music, I believe. Again, totally not distracting this background. 3 adds in a decent amount of new music to Olympus. So I'm very surprised that Olympus isn't actually in 3. Even though, technically speaking, you don't see the Kingdom Hearts 3 title card until after Olympus, I think. So if you want to be very technical about it, Olympus is not Kingdom Hearts 3, but that's Kingdom Hearts 2.9. You want to be very technical about it, because we know Nomura wants to be very technical about things. Because only when it really, like, suits him, to be fair. So yeah, these are kind of... Really, these are just boss levels. These play exactly the same as the boss levels, just the backgrounds are more distracting. Also, still very impressed with how good Kingdom Hearts 3's cutscenes look. I know that, like, a lot of the good looking cutscenes are pre-rendered, but the fact that you actually can't always tell whether something is pre-rendered in 3 or if it's in-engine. And even when you can tell, the difference is so minimal. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a very good looking game, and I will defend that, at least, about it. Because it's gorgeous. And also, Kingdom Hearts 3 just shows you how far ahead of the curve Pixar is at all times. Because Kingdom Hearts 3 is probably the first time any of the Toy Story 2 characters have shown up in a video game with live rendering, looking anything like the original Toy Story, like quality-wise. Obviously there's different shaders used in Kingdom Hearts compared to Toy Story, but this is probably the first time we've seen this high definition Toy Story in a video game. To the point where you can actually compare it to the original movie, which at this point is like over 20 years old, I think. Yeah, over 20 years old, definitely. They're currently doing my Kingdom Hearts 3 run of Corona, got replaced by Corona and Sunshine. There's so many Corona-related things in the world which you just... Again, they hit differently. They hit differently in 2020. It's just... Kingdom of Corona just seems like a place you don't want to be at. That's all I'm saying. You don't want to be in the Kingdom of Corona. Monstropolis. Actually, they choose a good song for this one. I wasn't a fan of the Corona song. Then again... You can clip that. I wasn't a fan of the Corona. Hopefully that ages well. Yeah, I still fucking hate the distracting backgrounds. Like the actual like 3D animated backgrounds in the normal stages, those look good. Those look fine. I actually like those. But just having a video clip playing that background of these... I feel like, okay, so what I feel like is they made these levels first and then figured we can't do the whole game like this. This is really fucking shitty. And then they made the other gameplay style. And then they never changed these levels to that gameplay style? Something like that? I don't know. Something seems highly wrong about this. I honestly do wonder what the budget and how long it took to make this game, because it can't have been that long or that expensive. This might be the cheapest Kingdom Hearts game they've ever produced. Like, I am willing to, like, place a decent bet on the fact that this is probably the cheapest Kingdom Hearts game they've ever produced. Maybe music licensing not included, because there is some Disney songs in here which probably fairly expensive. But even then, I still am very confident that the development of this game, just playing through it, was probably really, really, really cheap. But yeah, they did have to make some 3D assets for all of the backgrounds for the worlds, but most of those they probably just still had laying around and only needed to like touch up a bit or like stitch them together and that kind of thing, right? I cannot see this being very expensive to develop. Well, unless you're really stuck at getting stars, we'll finish the game pretty early today. Yeah, seems that way. But we also still have the optional bosses. And I'm getting stars at a decent rate right now, it seems. So I feel like we'll finish the game with quite a bit of spare time. So we might just go into like track selection for a bit of gathering footage there. Here we go. This is not going up on YouTube.